Is your business drowning in software costs, tools that don't work together, and privacy risks? Meet Federated Computer, a complete business suite built to simplify your tech stack. Why do forward-thinking companies switch to Federated? No per-user fees, unlimited users. Save up to 75% by replacing tools like Zoom, Slack, Google Workspace, and more. One platform means less context switching and more productivity. 100% private. Your data stays yours. Fully customizable with open source flexibility. Whether you're a lean startup or growing enterprise, Federated adapts to your needs so you save more, work smarter, and protect your business. Ready to simplify your business software and increase profits? Schedule a free demo and see how Federated can transform the way you work. Federated Computer. Streamline, save, and scale.
Turn it up, feel the sound, break the chains. Your voice, your choice, no data in vain. Liberty Tunes, where the free arts collide. Own your story, let your soul decide. Own your data, rock your freedom loud. Sing it high, stand up proud. Liberty Tunes, where the truth's alive. Freedom's anthem, where dreams survive.
You know, I talk about or play that commercial here lately pretty much every episode. And I talk about Federated Computer all the time. They're not my sponsor. They don't give me any money at all. In fact, I'm the one that gives them money. I digress. It's a hell of a service, and I keep saying that I'm going to go through it and talk about it. And I probably could do that, but this is like an audio show. And, I really would like to do that as a video so you can see what you're getting. It's just, I really do. I love them. What they're doing is they provide you service with open source software. And you don't have to do pretty much anything. They maintain it, all that stuff. If you got a problem, you say, "Hey, I got a problem," and they fix it. It's like when I was setting up the Matrix server for Liberty Tunes, I was like, I couldn't log in, and there was a mistake somewhere on a config file somewhere, and I just went in and emailed them, and just a matter of minutes, I was logged in. Had nothing to do, had to do nothing for it. I just said I had a problem, and they fixed it. I mean, 99% of the time, 100% of the time, when I log in with a problem and holler at them, say, "Hey, something's wrong," it's fixed like super fast. They are stupid fast. Put it that way. I love it. Anyways, I digress. So, the media's pivot to AI is not real and not going to work. This is from 404 Media again. AI is not going to save media companies, and forcing journalists to use AI is not a business model. Did you know that Microsoft employees, totally unrelated here, but Microsoft employees are now being forced to use AI in their jobs? They are really pushing that Copilot. I logged into the Windows partition here on the laptop. I got it upgraded to 11, just because it needed to be updated, because the Windows 10 that was on it was like a year or so ago since updates was done. But I logged into the Windows 10 partition, got the laptop updated, and it upgraded to 11. And dude, Copilot is fucking everywhere in Windows 11. It's on your taskbar. It's in Microsoft Edge. I log into Outlook for work, and there's the big Copilot button, even though we don't have Copilot for our the Microsoft account at work, and which, by the way, we're getting rid of. Yay! Because the company that bought our company, they use Google Workspace. They've got a Microsoft license for like Excel or something like that, but they don't have the full Microsoft bullshit. So at least I'm getting away from Microsoft, but it's being replaced with Google. So anyways, I digress. I don't know if that's better or worse, but yeah, this is on May 23rd from 404 Media. We got a very interesting email from Ghost, the service we use to make 404 Media. Paid subscription started, the email said, which is the subject line of all the automated emails we get when someone subscribes to 404 Media. The interesting thing about this email was that the new subscriber had been referred to 404 Media directly from chatgpt.com, meaning the person clicked a link to 404 Media from within a ChatGPT window. It is the first and only time that ChatGPT has ever sent 404 Media a paid subscriber. From what I can tell you, ChatGPT.com has sent us 1,600 page views since we founded 404 Media nearly 2 years ago. To give you a sense of where this slots in, this is slightly fewer than the Czech news aggregator Novinky.cz and Hungarian news portal telex.hu, the Polish news aggregator Wykop.pl, and barely more than the Russian news aggregator Dzin.ru, the paywall jumping website RemovePaywall.com, and a computer graphics job board called 80.lv.in. .lv, period. Next sentence is, in that same time. I thought the .in, I thought that was part of the web address. I digress. In that same time, Google has sent roughly 3 million visitors, or 187,400% more than ChatGPT. This is really neither here nor there, because we have tried to set our website up to block ChatGPT from scraping us, though it is clear this is not always working. But even for sites that don't block ChatGPT, now new research from the internet infrastructure company Cloudflare suggests that OpenAI is crawling 1,500 individual web pages for every one visitor that it is sending to a website. Google traffic has begun to dry up, and as both Google's own AI snippets and AI-powered SEO spam have obliterated the business models of many media websites. This general dynamic, plummeting traffic because of AI snippets, ChatGPT, AI slop, Twitter, no worky, so good no more, has been called the traffic apocalypse, and has all but killed some other smaller websites, and has been blamed by executives for hundreds of layoffs at larger ones. Despite the fact that generative AI has become a destructive force against their business, their industry, and the truth more broadly, media executives still see AI as a business opportunity and a shiny object that they can tell investors and their staffs that they are very bullish on. They have to say this, I guess, because everything else they have tried hasn't worked, and pretending that they are forward-thinking or have any clue what they are doing will perhaps allow a specific type of media executive to squeeze out a few more months of salary. But pivoting to AI is not a business strategy. Telling journalists they must use AI as a business strategy, or is not a business strategy. partnering with AI companies is a business move, but becoming reliant on revenue from tech giants who are creating a machine that duplicates the work you've already created is not a smart or sustainable business move, and therefore it is not a smart business strategy. It is true that AI is changing the internet and is threatening you journalists and media outlets, but the only AI-related business strategy that makes any sense whatsoever is one where media companies and journalists go to great pains to show their audiences that they are human beings, and that the work that they are doing is worth supporting because it is human work, that it is vital to their audiences. This is something GQ's editorial director Will Welch recently told New York Magazine, "The good news for any digital publisher is that the new game we all have to play is also a sustainable one. You have to build a direct relationship with your core readers." Becoming an AI-first media company has become a buzzword that execs can point at to explain that their businesses can use AI to become more efficient and thus have a chance to become more profitable. Often, but not always, this message comes from executives who are laying off large swaths of their human staff. In May, Business Insider laid off 21% of its workforce. In her layoff letter, Business Insider CEO Barbara Peng said there's a huge opportunity for companies who harnessed AI first. She told the remaining employees there that they are fully embracing AI. "We are going all in on AI," and said over 70% of Business Insider employees are already using Enterprise Chat GPT regularly. Our goal is 100%. And we're building prompt libraries and sharing everyday use cases that help us work faster, smarter, and better, she added. They are exploring how AI can boost operations across shared services, helping us scale and operate more efficiently. Last year, Hearst Newspapers executives who operate 78 newspapers nationwide told the company in an all-hands meeting, audio obtained by 404 Media, that they are leaning into AI as Hearst overhaul the entire corporation. Examples given in the meeting included using AI for slide decks, a quiz generation tool for readers, translations, a tool called Dispatch, which is an email summarization tool, and a tool called Assembly, which is basically a public meeting monitor, transcriber, summarizer all in one. I've got no problem with companies, big and small, using AI to help them work. I've got no, I use AI to make this podcast. I use AI to make my music, to convey messages. I use AI to proofread what I write, because I suck when it comes to writing. Not so much the concepts, it's getting it down into words where I have the problem. And this kind of goes along with all these videos that I keep seeing from the big YouTubers in the music industry, griping and complaining about Suno. Oh, it's, anybody can, write a song, a hit song. And there's one AI band on Spotify that's got way over 1 million listens. I can't think of their name right now. It's not my kind of music, but that's why I don't listen. And plus, I'm not on Spotify because I got kicked off of. Which, side note, I do have an opportunity, and I want to get you guys' input. I can submit the podcast version of the show to Spotify through Substack. So it's not going to be in my name. So I could, quote unquote, get back onto Spotify without having my name on it, should I do it? Or should I just stick the finger to Spotify and tell them to go fuck off? Because there's a, on the pod, if you got a podcast on Substack, there's a button that says, share it to Substack or to Spotify. So I'm thinking about hitting that button because it's just like a one-click thing, and I don't have to really go to Spotify to use it or to do it. But it would be nice to be able to say, hey, if you can't find me on this, and this, look for me look for the show on Spotify, because nearly everybody's on Spotify. But anyways, I digress. These YouTubers that are griping and complaining that you can go create a song on Suno with quote unquote no effort, and it's all done because somebody else did it, blah blah blah. You're stealing other people's work, blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm going to argue with that point, because even if at this point in the history of music there is nothing original, there is no lick, no guitar riff, no drum riff, no bass riff, no lyric, no story, no concept that has not been done already by many, many other people before you. I get, I am a musician myself. I played guitar since I was 13 years old, and I'm 55 now. There is no song that I've ever wrote, even when I was in the band, no part of any song that we ever wrote was 100% original. There is no song on anywhere that is 100% original. Everything is based off of that that individual musician or group of musicians is based on their experiences with other music they've heard before. So are they original? Did they not rip off and copy other songs? I mean, yeah, there are blatant rip-off songs out there. And there's copyright infringement galore in the music industry. But arguing the point that AI and Suno is blatant rip-offs is not the point you should be making. If you want to go after AI music, go after them for, what's the word I'm looking for? Where they're scraping the music to train their models for free. That's where the argument should be made. The argument should not be made that in the entirety of AI music is a ripoff, because it's not. If the only reason you're saying it's a ripoff, and especially these large YouTubers, is because they want their money. They want their little royalty check. They want to be like Sting and get paid $2,000 anytime. Was it every breath you take gets played on the radio, no matter where it is in the world. They want that. They want their notoriety. They want to be known. They want their 15 minutes of fame. They don't really care about the music. They don't care about an idea that they're expressing, a story in the song. That's why I like indie music, independent bands, independent music. That's why I've been doing that since 2006. Because the music's better, there's more passion than what you listen to on the damn radio. I can't tell you the last time I listened to a terrestrial radio station, because it's literally nothing more than a record label, a music label, saying, you can't really say record anymore, but a music label endorsing and telling you who you should be listening to and liking now. It's got nothing to do with whether or not the song is good. I've heard indie songs, the tiny little indie songs, and then I'll go listen to the radio, just not purposely listen to the radio, but I'll just be walking by somebody and they'll be playing this thing, and it's like somebody big like Taylor Swift, and the song sounds just like an indie song that I heard, and it's like, really, who's this? Interloper says that he does listen to Fluid Radio. What is that, some kind of LGBTQ radio? The music is fluid. Might be hard. Might be Lawrence Welk polka. He says not gender fluid. Music fluid. I know. I've heard them before. Just messing with you. Sorry, Interloper. See, this would be the fun. This is kind of fun we could have in a chat room. Watch for the show notes. The show notes will be over at libertytunes.substack.com, and Matrix chat room will be in there. So, anyways, now that I've got derailed there from Interloper. Oh, back to the thing. It's AI is just a tool. These people that use it to it empowers the little guy, and the ones that you're hearing the bitch the most about it are the big corporations when it comes to like music. You don't hear the little independent musician bitch about somebody. You do hear them gripe, mainly because they didn't get their royalty or what have you. But I'm of the sound or thought, my brain thought, I believe information should be free. It should not be paywalled. It should not be gatekept by anybody. And I feel the same about music. If you are truly and really about the music and you're passionate about what you write as a musician, you want people to hear it. You want people to play it. You don't want some multi-mega million-dollar corporation to gatekeep it, because what they will do is they pick and choose the winners. There are lots and lots of times and examples over the years in the music industry where a music label will sign an up-and-coming local band somewhere in the States. It's real popular around Nashville, LA, New York. They will sign these bands, give them a 2 EP record contract, and then they disappear. They record their show, their music, and then they never get promoted. They never get thrown on the national stage unless they fit a certain mold that they can market towards on a national stage. There are different levels in the music industry, just like any industry. You got the small little thing, little people, then you got the mid-range, and then you've got the national, and then you've got the world stage. My band, we were on the local, almost, pretty much at the state level. We didn't really get outside of the state of Michigan, but we were known as a live band, and we never not once recorded an actual CD or EP. If you look for it, you'll find clips of us and even, full songs of us playing live on stage. Slight Case of Death. We were known as being a party band. And we did have a small little following that would follow us from city to city. Whether we played in Saginaw, whether we played in Lansing, whether we played in Detroit, it didn't matter. They would be there. They were like our own little deadheads. The Grateful Dead had their people that would follow them around the country. We had the Scott Squad, and it was fun. But if we were to ever have gotten signed, we never would have gotten anywhere. Mainly because one of our most popular songs was called Dear Mother, and the chorus of it was literally, Jesus doesn't love you anymore. We were not a polka band. And we had another song that was quite popular. It was meant to be a joke song that Gary, the singer, he wrote it. And it was not meant to ever get popular because it was just a joke. It was a comedy song. And it came to be known as ALB, which stands for Awesome Lesbian Boobies. And it's like a country little folk song, and it was fun. It was fun. But it got to be one of our most requested songs every time we showed up to a show. And that's usually what we ended the show with, was Awesome Lesbian Boobies. And it's awesome. It's fun hearing people sing along to that song. But I digress. So, let's move on to another news story. Holy shit. We're like 3/4 of the way through the show. Damn. Here.
Liberty Tunes is on RM Radio. Own your data and rock your freedom.
Okay, let's get into some kind of scary news. The EU could be scanning your chats by October. Here's everything that we know. This is from Tech Radar. Denmark has reintroduced, the disputed, I should have tried to chug that while I was playing that promo. Anyways, Denmark has reintroduced the Disputed Child Sexual Abuse Scanning Bill, or CSAM, on the first day of its EU presidency. The so-called chat control proposal could be adopted as early as October 14th, 2025. The proposal has been failing to attract the needed majority since May of 2022. Denmark kicked off its EU presidency on July 1st, and among its first actions, lawmakers swiftly reintroduced the controversial Child Sexual Abuse Scanning Bill to the top of the agenda. Having been deemed by critics as chat control, the bill aims to introduce new obligations for all messaging services operating in Europe to scan users' chats, even if they're encrypted. The proposal, however, has been failing to attract the needed majority since May 2022, with Poland's presidency being the last to give up on such a plan. Denmark is a strong supporter of chat control. Now, the new rules could be adopted as early as October 14th if the Danish presidency manages to find a middle ground among the country's members. The Danish parliament has not yet disclosed the contents of the new compromises. At the time of writing, we know that another meeting is scheduled for later this week, July 11th, so this story's kind of old, with lawmakers expected to deliberate on the bill on October 14th. We also know that among the objectives of the Danish EU presidency, there's a commitment to focus on strengthening the abilities to make use of the digital development for law enforcement when fighting serious crime, while also addressing the misuse of new technologies for criminal or harmful purposes. So-called chat control aims to halt the spread of CSAM content online by scanning all communications, especially encrypted ones. Over the years, however, the proposal has seen some twists and turns as privacy advocates, technologists, and even politicians have raised concerns. Experts worry that these new obligations will undermine encryption protections. Encryption is a technology that, like the likes of WhatsApp, Signal, Proton Mail, and even the best VPN apps, used to scramble users' messages into an unreadable form, preventing unauthorized access and guaranteeing that chats remain private. As per its first version, all messaging software providers would be required to perform indiscriminate scanning of private messages to look for CSAM, so-called client-side scanning. The proposal was met with a strong backlash, and the European Court of Human Rights ended up banning all legal efforts to weaken encryption of secure communications in Europe. In June of 2024, Belgium then proposed a new text to target only shared photos, videos, and URLs upon users' permission. This version didn't satisfy either the industry or voting EU members due to its coercive nature. As per the Belgian text, users must give consent to shared material being scanned before being encrypted to keep using the functionality. Fast forward to February 2025, Poland tried to find a better compromise by making the scanning of encrypted chats voluntary instead of a mandatory and classified prevention. While experts found this version a major progress, they still lamented the risk of mass surveillance, and ultimately lawmakers failed to attract the needed majority. We could then expect the Danish text to try finding a compromise that appeals to most of the country's members. According to the former MEP for the German Private Party, Patrick Breyer, Denmark crucially needs to manage to convince Germany of its proposed text. The new government has not yet taken a position at the time of writing. What's certain, however, is that the controversial CSAM scanning bill is far from being the only proposal threatening encryption in Europe. In the latest of these efforts, on June 24th, the EU Commission published the first step in its Protect EU strategy, which looked to enable law enforcement bodies to decrypt your private data by 2030. Encryption is going to be illegal, whether you like it or not. I'm telling you guys, it's getting extremely scary. He saying that Interloper's saying that the one that I'm reading is related to the one I read earlier. See how British government silenced the free press and made truth illegal. This is from Reclaim the Net. If you guys haven't ever checked out Reclaim the Net, they got some really great articles. ReclaimTheNet.org. There are cover-ups, and then there's whatever the British government just pulled. Imagine torching £7 billion, that's 9.4 billion US, of public money, risking 100,000 lives, creating an immigration scandal, and then When the inevitable outrage starts to bubble, slapping a gag order on the entire country and pretending it never happened. This is banana public behavior with better tailoring. Almost sounds like the U.S. Anyways, because for nearly 2 years, a super injunction, the kind usually deployed when a Premier League footballer's pants have wandered off again, was used to silence journalists and the free press, gag Parliament, and stop the public from learning that the Ministry of Defense had done something catastrophically inept. It began in August 2023 when journalist David Williams discovered that the Ministry of Defense had managed to leak the identities of 18,800 Afghans who had worked with British forces, drivers, and translators. Their families included. We're talking about 100,000 people now, allegedly squarely in the Taliban's crosshairs, all because some bright spark couldn't handle a spreadsheet. Someone in Whitehall realized that explaining to the public how a government that wants to introduce digital IDs, biometric databases, and centralized health records can't even keep the data of war zone informants safe might be a tough sell. Now, in a functioning democracy, this is the point where the government admits the error, apologizes profusely, and gets on with fixing the mess. But that's not what happened. Indeed, the conservative government went nuclear. It reached for a super injunction, a legal instrument so secretive that you can't even mention that it exists. It's the Voldemort of British law. He who must not be named, and also must not be reported on, discussed in Parliament, or even acknowledged in polite company. Ever since the data hit the fan, ministers hidden behind a wall of censorship so thick that it could double as a North Korean border post have been quietly orchestrating one of the largest peacetime migration missions in British history. Not that they told the tax-paying public, of course, or Parliament, or anyone who wasn't legally bound to pretend it wasn't happening. They went full cloak and dagger, smuggling thousands of Afghans out of a collapsing country into Britain on taxpayer-funded flights, all while maintaining the straight-faced lie that nothing was going on. So far, 18,500 people whose data was lost in the Ministry of Defense's catastrophic blunder have either arrived in Britain or en route, stuffed into chartered jets the public paid for without being asked. Another 5,400 are queued up to follow. They're currently being housed in MOD homes or hotels on the taxpayer's dime. Another reason Prime Minister Keir Starmer's government likely wanted to keep this super injunction in place when he became Prime Minister, for fear of facing even more public backlash that he's already receiving. Let's be clear about what this super injunction did. It did more than ban journalists from publishing the truth. It prevented Parliament from talking about it. It made it illegal to reveal the existence of the order itself. For nearly 2 years, Britain was living under a state-sanctioned lie of omission. And the people who were gagged, the very ones tasked with holding power to account, this is not typically how a democracy behaves. This is how a dodgy offshore bank operates, or a mid-tier dictatorship with delusions of grandeur. You do not, under any sane definition of a free society, get to blow £7 billion on a secret resettlement program and then deploy stealth censorship to bury the consequences for your own incompetence. Yet that's precisely what happened. Justice Chamberlain, who heard the case in secret courtrooms, was reportedly stunned to learn that government officials were actively planning to lie to MPs. His actual words? A very, very striking thing. For a high court judge, that's basically incandescent rage. We've now entered a world where the government can simply decide that public interest isn't well in the public's interest. Super injunctions, originally designed to stop tabloid editors from splashing scandal across every page 3, have become the Swiss Army knife of political embarrassment and management. And what's more disturbing is how quietly it all happened. No headlines, no debates, just 2 years of eerie silence while the government conducted one of the most politically expensive operations in modern British history. Never had I witnessed such an extraordinary scene in almost 30 years of reporting from the press benches of the royal courts, wrote Daily Mail chief reporter Sam Greenhill, saying that the judge appeared genuinely incredulous that the government was preparing to actively deceive Parliament. Here are the ways the British state just showed us it can gag, mislead, and trample liberty and a silk glove. They gagged the press from reporting on matters of public interest. The superjunction wasn't content only hiding the details of the MOD's monumental data catastrophe. It forbade anyone from even acknowledging the gag existed. That's reality control. Orwell would have lit a cigarette and wept. Journalists couldn't report. Editors couldn't hint. The public, the people paying for all of this, were told nothing. Number 2, they allow the government to mislead Parliament and the public. With the press silence, ministers had a field day spinning fantasy in the Commons. They deliberately concealed the fact that they were moving thousands of Afghans into the country, and at a time when immigration is the number one concern of the public, according to the polls. Justice Chamberlain reportedly looked visibly disturbed in one secret hearing when officials revealed they were preparing to tell elected members of Parliament something deliberately misleading. And what happened? Nothing. Courts nodded, gag remained, taxpayer misrinsed. Democracy is treated like an inconvenient bump in the road. Number 3, they bypassed democratic oversight and institutional checks. Even Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee, the people who were legally supposed to know about this stuff, were left out of the loop. The executive branch simply decided it didn't need the supervision anymore. Number 4, they invert the role of the courts in a free society. Here's a fun twist. The courts, whose job is ostensibly to protect civil liberties, were used as the government's personal bodyguard, shielding ministries from embarrassment while throttling the press. Judicial robes returned into legal armor for executive lockups. You expect judges to be the firewall between government overreach and public freedom. Instead, they were the gatekeepers of secrecy. The legal system was weaponized against the very people it was supposed to protect. They prioritized state embarrassment over genuine security. The DSMA notice system, originally designed to stop PACs from leaking nuclear launch codes or troop movements, was activated because ministers were at risk of a bad headline. The real national emergency was a PR fallout. Number 6, they threatened journalistic freedom and chill investigative reporting. Journalists were legally strangled. Even as the government later admitted these reporters had performed a very necessary public service, they still tried to gag them for nearly 2 years. Number 7, they contradict liberal democratic principles. In case we've all forgotten, in a liberal democracy, the government is supposed to fear the press, not the other way around. Super injunctions flip this on its head, creating a reality where public servants act like private oligarchs, hiding decisions that affect millions behind legal iron curtains. Number 8, the UK lacked a constitutional free speech guarantee. Here's the tragic punchline. Unlike the United States, where the First Amendment would treat a super injunction like the bubonic plague, the UK has no constitutional protection for freedom of expression, which means when ministers decide to shove dissent into a sack and drown it in legalese, there's precious little the courts can do or will do to stop it. Number 9, they undermine public debate on critical policy decisions. This was a $7 billion migration program carried out in total darkness. It involved flights, housing, free hotels, resource allocation, and massive public impact. And the public, utterly excluded from the debate. Worse still, when local tensions flared, including riots in towns housing migrants, no one could speak honestly about what was going on because honesty had been declared illegal. Number 10, they establish a dangerous precedent for future censorship. And finally, the real horror this week, this worked. For nearly 2 years, the government ran a secret, expensive, risky, and morally fraught operation and got away with it. If this becomes a playbook for future crises, then they've just pioneered censorship by precedent. What began as an emergency measure is now a neat little workaround for policy failure. Don't want the answer for it? Slap a gag on it. Don't want the public involved? Call it classified. Don't want Parliament poking around? I say it's under review and carry on spending. Because now they know they can. And unless this entire fiasco sparks real reform, actual limits on injunctions, real free speech protections, and courts willing to rediscover their spines, they will do it again. And once you've seen a scandal like this dragged kicking and screaming into daylight, you can't help but wonder what else is being hidden behind velvet curtained courtrooms and conveniently redacted memos. If $1 million, multi-billion pound operation involving national security, mass migration, and a catastrophic data breach can be buried for years under legal quicksand, what smaller disasters are quietly rotting in the dark? How many other narratives have been quietly managed into non-existence while the public is spoon-fed whatever sanitized drivel passes the cabinet office sniff test? Is there a byline on this? Because that was very well written. Scroll to the top. The Cam Wakefield over on reclaimthenet.org. Great article. I love that. I'm going to do some more searching for him. Yeah, we're down to 14 minutes left. Wow. This 2 hours just went by fast. I mean, usually there's times that I'll be like, okay, I got to find something to talk about or something to play. And then it comes up with something like this, and it's like, wow. that went super quick. That went stupid quick. But I've got 2 songs I want to play. Yeah. This is Hammer On Down. This is another one that I wrote. Yeah. I wrote all the songs. But yeah, all the songs that I play, I write. But anyway, I digress. Here we go.
Through the dark, the asphalt screams beneath me. Every mile a story of our dreams left to bleed. She's waiting at the line, her patience worn and thin. I can't let this love die, can't let it end. The engine roars, my heart beats in sync. Every turn, every mile, I feel the link between what I've lost and what I might save. I push this beast for one last wave. Gotta get my move on, gotta groove on, time to hit the road now. Hammer on down, hammer on down. Gotta get my move on, gotta groove on, time to hit the road now. Hammer on down. Been my home, but home's been her prison. She's counting down the days, her love in division. I see her in every headlight, in every lonely night. Gotta make it back to her, can't lose the fight. The tires burn, the road's my confession. Every mile I'm fighting for redemption. To save what once was, to change what will be. I'm racing against time, against destiny. Gotta get my move on, gotta groove on, gotta hit the road now. Hammer on down, hammer on down. Gotta get my move on, gotta groove on. sunrise, but it feels like the end. The road's my enemy, my only friend. She's all that matters, she's my reason to run. I'll break the dawn, I'll hammer on down. Gotta get my move on, gotta move on, gotta hit the road now. Hammer on down, hammer on down. Gotta get my move on, gotta move on, gotta hit the road now. Hammer on down, hammer on down. The miles blur, my vision's clear. I'll make it home, I'll keep her near. Hammer on down, hammer on down. Till I see her face, till I'm homebound.
Yeah, I do feel. I don't want to sound like I'm throwing pity out there, because we really don't have it that much better over here in the States. But I do feel bad for you people over in EU, because you don't have that constitution that can somewhat protect you, but it doesn't really. Even the U.S. Constitution doesn't. It's the way it's doing now anymore. It's not really protecting us all that much at all. But yeah, we're getting close to the end here. I got one final song that I'm going to play. It's Blood on the Stripes, and it's, calling out a lot of things that the U.S. government did to its citizens. Everything from killing the Indians and massacring them to, wow. I mean, it's just... Yeah, good question, Interloper. I told him it may not be economically feasible to, but move. And he said the question is where to. That's a great question, because the entire world is becoming blatantly fascist. There's no other word to say it. If you haven't figured out by now, it's not left versus right. It's not red versus blue. It's the state versus you. The state being the government. To put it in, the bare minimum terms. It's the state versus you. Now listen to this, and we'll see you guys again next week. I'm going to do my best to actually do it on Friday night and Saturday afternoon next week. So we'll catch you guys again the next time. Be good. Be safe. Don't stick your finger where you wouldn't stick your face.
Ashes of Waco, the flames still burn. A massacre at the knee, lessons never learned. Gunwalk saints, betrayed barrels crossed the line. Killed Dozer, steel roared, but they buried his sign. The past ain't dead, it's a warning in blood. Every right we lose sinks deeper in mud. They'll shred our souls if we don't stand tall. Fight every day or we'll lose it all. Blood on the stripes, they tear us apart. Sing it loud from a rebel's heart. Blood on the stripes, the truth won't fade. Raise your fist, break the chains they made. Mind cage locked tight, MK's twisted game. Paperclip, pulled strings, Nazis, rebranded fame. The rich stained red, a family torn apart. Every silent step lets them rip out our heart. They rush the needle, crowns on their throne. Vaults choke the world, death's their stone. History's a blade cuts through their lives. Stand up and fight, or the free man dies. Blood on the stripes, they tear us apart. Sing it loud from a rebel's heart. Blood stripes, the truth won't fade. Raise your fist, break the chains they made. They'll burn your home, they'll break your will. Stack the bodies high, powers their thrill. Fast and furious, guns in the night. Ruby's ghost scream, this ain't right. The feds elite, sucking life away. Rebel every dawn, or we're slaves by day. Every deal in the dark, every law they bend, steals your voice, brings the end again. They shred it slow, piece by piece they take. A quiet theft till the spirit breaks. But the fire's alive in the rebel's vein. Smash their grip, unleash the pain. Unleash the pain. Unleash the pain. Unleash the pain. 9 scars carved, tales of the betrayed. From 90s planes to the games they played. Each song a brick in the wall we tear. A battle cry loud through the poisoned air. Liberty shredded, but the spark holds tight. Every fist we raise keeps the flame alight. Stand every hour, guard what's yours, or they'll lock the cage and bolt the doors. Blood on the stripes, they tear us apart. Sing it loud from a rebel's heart. Blood on the stripes, the truth won't fade. Raise your fist, break the chains they made. Blood on the stripes, they tear us apart. Sing it loud from a rebel's heart. Blood on the stripes, the truth won't fade. Raise your fist, break the chains they made. No more bowing, no more fear. The time is now, the line is right here. No more bowing, no more fear. The time is now, the line is right here. Rise up, Liberty tunes for freedom's sake. Offline, online, Liberty tunes for freedom's sake. Let freedom reign, Liberty tunes on your dead or rock your freedom band. Don't let it break, Liberty tunes for freedom's sake. Rise up, keep the fire awake. Liberty tunes for freedom's sake. Offline, online, we'll never obey. Liberty tunes, we're free every day. Yo, break the spell, let's burn it down!